new competition, Toby, Champions Cup, Sale at home. What are you expecting from that?
Well, obviously I know the Premiership teams pretty well from my time there. Obviously, Alex Saunders did a great job with them. They were very noticeable in the league table last year, and they're playing very well, even though they're not getting probably the results that they deserve. So yeah, they're a very, very tough team in a group of very, very tough games for us. So you want to challenge yourself against the best in the Champions Cup, and this is an opportunity for us to do that.
And the final one for me, going on the back of a very good victory last weekend.
Yeah, obviously we needed to. The most important thing for us is it demonstrated a level of care and commitment on the back of a poor performance. We saw a very, very good one. So I think that was the most encouraging thing. There's always in any performance things that we can work on and be better at. But we came with the right emotion. We came with the right commitment levels, and that got us a victory against a very, very good team.
Thank you for your time, Toby. Good
No,
night.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Toby, it's Mark. It is. Just commiserations to Even really, and all the squad and the Ospreys.
Thank you.
You're playing Sale this week. Where do you see their biggest threats?
Probably their physicality above anything else. I think that if you look at their squad makeup, obviously there's a high South African influence into it, and you know how abrasive they play the game. So I think the physicality above anything else, and they're very clinical in certain areas of their game, which makes them hard to beat. So obviously there's a lot, I can see some similarities of what Alice has taken from Saracens from there, and we know how pragmatic and difficult they are to beat. So yeah, we're going to need to be good in the little parts of the game to eke, if you like, some advantage, and then when we get those opportunities we're going to need to be clinical, because they don't offer too much to you.
And they've got one of the best line-out forwards in the world in Lou Diego.
Yeah, again, just if things weren't getting any tougher, from that point of view, you've got, some very, very good players that have got a proven track record at the very, very top. So, that makes the challenge even more exciting in a way, but even more daunting in another. So we need to, as I said before, we've really, really got to be on our mettle on the little things that are going to make a big difference.
If they both play, it'll be a really good matchup between Jack Morgan and Tom Curry.
Yeah, again, you talk about line-out forwards. You talk about people that are exceptional, on the ball on the floor and the breakdown. Jack's shown that in the games he's played for us this year, and Tom Curry and a number of others actually in relation to them are very, very good in the breakdown. And you've seen that for England, you've seen that for Sale. And they're an exceptionally good side around the breakdown, and that's one of the biggest threats that we have.
Were you pleased with Jack and Morris's efforts last week?
Yeah, I thought the back row and Will Griff as well, who moved up obviously to call the line out in second row when we lost Brad. I thought that those three guys who are, you can see the fact that they get on very well off the pitch as a friendship group as well, because they're very cohesive on the pitch as well as off. So yeah, I thought those three really aimed up, and I thought there were a number of notable performances that we saw, and a good team, really good team performance, on review. So it's going to require exactly the same this week for sure.
With so many young players, Toby, you defeated Munster a few weeks ago, and yet took a step back the following week. What are you doing, or what can be done, to prevent something like that happening this week?
If I knew the exact answer to that, I'd probably be a very wealthy person, to be fair. But I mean, there's a lot of that. The next week you talk about came 5 weeks later, for one. So there was 5 weeks between that. There was I suppose the getting back on the horse around that. There were external influences around the weather and being at Connaught, but ultimately with young players you're going to get well, with all players, but particularly you have to learn about consistency and mindset, and that's a skill you have to learn in the saddle a little bit, and you have to work out how to get the very best out of yourself emotionally week in and week out, and that's part of the challenge and the growth of an individual.
How was your injury situation? We saw Max Nagy picking up a bump and Dan Evans crying off before kick-off, and Derry Lake was sort of on the way back. How are these guys for this week?
Yeah, Derry Lake's a week closer, and he's now available for selection, which is good. Max Nagy isn't. He's had a hyperextension of his elbow, so he won't be available. Dan Evans is there or thereabouts on the three that you mentioned, and Brad Davis won't be available to a foot injury.
That's a bit of a blow then with Brad. He's been playing well, and
absolutely. And the good thing for us is Adam Beard's back around and involved. So you get one and lose one all in the same week.
Yeah. Last question, really. Have you been pleased? Reece is on next. Have you been pleased with his efforts this season as captain and indeed as a player?
Yeah, I think that Webby's been great. He's obviously had some personal setbacks around internationals, and he's ridden that out. He's an experienced player that understands the ups and downs of selection for sure. And all he can control is how he performs, and he's performed exceptionally well for us, especially from a leadership point of view, which is something that we're looking to obviously keep growing him into. He's a big voice, not just as a scrum half. He has an influence in the group, and he's channeling that in demanding the best out of himself and also the team, and that's a very important ingredient to us. In our strive for consistency when you've got young players and a young team that's trying to learn its way.